receive Wike in Bayelsa in Yenawa. They told me I have directed every youth to be on alert. And I bring that to you to also be on alert. This is not River State. This is Bayelsa State. The crowd. If your son or daughter is misbehaving, please call him to order. We have had in our party a renegade who has decided to form a parallel PDP in Bayelsa State, working with former Governor Wike in River State. And the party in our state has suspended Judge Turner for going to take over the office of one of our sons. And so the party has suspended him, and so Judge Turner is not for now a member of our party in Bayelsa State. He could be a member in River State, not in Bayelsa State. And so the royal fathers of Okwea, elders of Okwea, may have to call that young man to order. If you don't call him to order, he is going to disrupt this state. Just recently, we all saw a post in Facebook saying that they want to receive Wike in Bayelsa in Yenawa. In Douye roundabout. I have directed the security to be on alert. I have directed every youth to be on alert. And I bring that to you to also be on alert. This is not River State. This is Bayelsa State. The cradle of every Ijeoma. And I've always said, don't think that, as you are aware, particularly one Judge Turner is threatening the peace of this state. And recently there is a Facebook report with his own number that he is going to host the Minister of FCT in Douye roundabout in Bayelsa. The minister is not from Bayelsa State. This is not FCT. This is Bayelsa State. All service commanders should be at alert. That meeting must not take place in Bayelsa State. He can host his minister anywhere outside Bayelsa State. And I direct further that no public place, no public school, no public place, infrastructure should be used by anybody except by the approval of the state government. Every public facility in this state owned by the Bayelsa state government, nobody can use it except with the express approval of the Bayelsa state government. And nobody should import and export insecurity in their states to Bayelsa state. And so service commanders, you are put on alert that any of such gatherings should not and will not hold in Bayelsa state. There is a government in place here, and this government and the security agencies have worked tirelessly to keep the peace of this state. If somebody cannot take care of their state, they shouldn't import it to where we have peace. The Ijaw people are not fighting federal government. We are rather supporting the government of Tinubu for what he is doing in Bayelsa State, particularly for giving the contract of phase 2 of Nembe Brass Road. And the contractor has come to report himself. And like Oliver Twist, we are asking for more for Ekeremo Age Road to partner with us. For Oporoma Ukubie Koluama Road to partner with us. And we are happy that the president is doing that. So why will anybody want to set the Ijaw people against the federal government?
Yes, because it did not. 7th of April will be burnt down.
All right, good morning, my esteemed viewers. This is Kacee 360 TV. We are in the street of Lagos State to discuss the trending issues in the world of politics and other related issues. Here with me is Mr. Matu. Mr. Matu, good morning.
Good morning.
Quick one, let me have your reaction concerning what the governor of Bayelsa said that Nyesom Wike should not come into Bayelsa State. That if you dare enter Bayelsa State, they are going to deal with him drastically. Mr. Matthew, how will you react in this very action by the Bayelsa State Governor that Nyesom Wike is coming to Bayelsa to threaten the peace of Bayelsa, and they will not sit down and fold their hand and watch Nyesom Wike enter Bayelsa? But he has instructed all the service staff to be at alert in order for them to make sure that Nyesom Wike did not have access into Bayelsa State.
Let me quickly start by saying that the governor of Bayelsa State, just like any other state, is the governor and the chief secretary of the state, and that it behoves on him to protect lives and property, and that he may have some level of classified information in terms of intelligence. For him to come out and said that he is not expecting a Wike to come to his state. Of course, he made it very clear that Bayelsa State is not FCT. But let me quickly say that in Nigeria, everybody have freedom of movement. But each time around, a Wike is perhaps coming for a rally, coming to hold an event. But the governor, as the chief secretary of the state, have some level of intelligence which he may have analyzed to have actually made it to come out to say, don't come, because perhaps maybe his coming is going to expose the state to chaos and danger.
So the governor also said that Wike is an insurgent, meaning that nobody should export any insecurity into Bayelsa State. My question I want to ask you, Mr. Matthew, is Wike a security threat to the Bayelsa?
I may not have access to some level of classified information, but if we look at the politics style of a Wike, I think that may have explained, or yes, the reason Diri, the governor of Bayelsa State, they have taken that position. Because this is someone who has seen what is happening in Rivers State, seen confusion everywhere, chaos, political crisis, and it's not ending. And you look as if the man may want to extend his tentacle beyond Rivers State into other South states. So I think that may explain the reason Diri may be saying, no, you are not welcome in our state. But if you ask me, I will advise a Wike to restrain himself from moving from state to state, because there's nothing that guarantees that. Of course, the governor made it very clear that this is not FCT. You understand that Wike is the FCT minister, and if you are coming into Bayelsa State, perhaps for a visit, it's a different thing. Not coming to hold an event, not that there's any major political activities, maybe generally speaking. So the governor may have gotten some level of intelligence for him to have come out to ask Wike to refrain from coming to Bayelsa State.
Does this have any relation to what happened in Rivers State? Wike is from Ikwere extraction of Niger Delta, and they just have taken their own stand to support the governor, former governor, the suspended governor of Rivers State, Sim Fubara. Do you see any thing else to do, whatever the Bayelsa governor is trying to stop Wike coming into Bayelsa State? Do you see anything that has to do with politics of Rivers State that is trying to play out here?
Definitely, you can't rule that out. Don't forget that Diri is an Ijaw man, and Fubara is an Ijaw man, so you cannot rule out sentiment in this regard. But what is happening currently, I think the reason may not be far-fetched. This may be because of political reason. Because Wike, as it stands, is trying to extend his tentacle beyond Rivers State. Perhaps to wield his influence across all South region. Don't forget that when they held the recent zonal PDP Congress, Wike sat and there was a Congress that was held across South. So maybe he may want to use that avenue to start bringing his influence across the South states as a way of galvanizing support for his principal, who is Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, of course, the president.
Mr. Matthew, also the head of service in Rivers State has just been resigned, and the wife said she has not seen her husband, seen the husband tender a resignation letter, and the husband is being kidnapped. Let me have your reaction on that as well.
I think the security agencies should spring into action, because it behoves on the government to protect lives and property. And I think it points to one thing. It got to show that the security breach that the federal government relied on to impose state of emergency, it got to show that the sole administrator have not been able to address it. Because if under the watch of the sole administrator, we are seeing kidnapping of that level, it got to show that the presence of the sole administrator have not solved any problem. But however I look at it, I think the security agency should swing into action and rescue the man in question.
Okay, one of the reason state of emergency was declared in Rivers State was as a result of security threat. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu then declared state of emergency in Rivers State because of security threat. But this evening, the bombing has not still stopped. Do you think that it's justifiable? The state, Rivers State state of emergency is justifiable by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
In the first place, there's nothing that justifies the imposition of state of emergency. Because if you look at the section 305 of 1999 Constitution as amended that the president rely on to impose the state of emergency, there's nothing in that section that empowers the president to impose the state of emergency. I think that must explain the reason you see almost every legal luminary in Nigeria, including NBA, tell Mr. President that you are wrong. Of course, NBA made it very clear that even the oath of office, the sole administrator took, that such does not exist under the law. So in the first place, there's nothing that justifies Mr. President imposing the state of emergency other than he was heading for a state capture. Even if the presidency have come out to deny that their intention is not to capture states, but it can clearly be seen that their intention is to capture Rivers State. I think it's not taking, we are likely going to see a similar thing in other places, because we are probably saying APC National Secretary advising Mr. President to impose state of emergency in Osun State. We are probably seeing APC members advising Mr. President to impose state of emergency in Kano State. So this is purely a state capture agenda. There's nothing that justified the state of emergency. If you look at the criticism that trailed this action of Mr. President since he did it, you agree with me that it is purely born out of political interest.
All right, Mr. Mato, it's a very wonderful place to live in. Thank you for